Hello. So, I was a producer at QVC for 17 years, a television producer there, and I got to work with some of the most beautiful women in the world, Heidi Klum, Cheryl Ladd, Jacqueline Smith. But out of all the celebrities I worked with, only one ever hit on me, and that was Richard Simmons. Now, and what had happened was, it was in 1991, I was just recently married, and Richard would come in every couple months and do his shows there, selling dealer mail and stuff. And he said to me, he's like, Jim, you should come out and visit me at my house in Beverly Hills. And I said, Richard, I can't do that, I'm married. I just got married. And he goes, yeah, but you don't have any kids yet. To which I was like stunned, and all I could reply, yeah, but we have a cat. So like Richard would usually do if he was not getting his way, he would break into a Broadway show tune and then run away or walk away. And that's kind of what he did. And he would do that in other times. If we were talking about, the timing or this or that, he would kind of do that. So, and there's many people when you drop the name Richard Simmons, some people love him, some people hate him. But I got to know him over 10, 15 years, and so I want to tell how I came to view him. And one thing that was amazing about Richard was his sense of humor was even crazier off the air. But he was also really a nice, friendly guy and really believed in his mission. So off the air, he would tell we would be having talks with him, and I'll tell you the talk. After David Letterman had the heart attack, Richard came, it was a month or two later, and we asked him, we said, have you seen Letterman since the heart attack? And there were a couple of us. We're standing in the kitchen set at QVC, which is, we weren't shooting at all. And so Richard's like, I went to see David, and I showed up, and I had a big bouquet of flowers for him, and the nurses wouldn't let me see him. So he goes, and I was like, I just want to see David and make sure he's all right and give him a smile. And he's like, they wouldn't let me in to see him. And as that was the end of it, he gets this subversive grin on his face, and he goes, of course I was wearing a nurse's uniform. And we're just like, wow, like this is the funniest damn thing. But like Richard has this big heart. And to show that, every time he was on the air, we would only take so many calls on the air because we're trying to sell the product. We're trying to sell the dealer meal or the sweat into the oldies tapes. But there would always be like a dozen people that would call in wanting personal counseling from Richard. And so the people behind the producer's desk that kind of, fed all the calls up, they would copy the names down. Joan from Illinois, Thelma from Kansas, Jack from Minneapolis. And every performance Richard had, afterwards he would have a dozen, 15 names and phone numbers, and he would go into the green room, and for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, he would talk to these people that, they were having weight issues or, just really depressed, and he would spend as much time as needed with them. About a year or so after the incident where he invited me out to Beverly Hills, I decided my mother-in-law was in town, and I said to my wife, "You should come in. I'm working on a Saturday, and your mom can meet Richard Simmons." So, and my mother-in-law was the shyest woman from Northeast Philly, really quiet, timid woman, and my wife Janine brought her in. We're standing in the back of the studio, and Richard's singing Broadway show tunes to the order entry operators, and he runs up and says hi to her, and he goes, "I have to do something, but you go in the green room. You go in the green room." So we go in the green room, and my mother-in-law sits on the couch, and my wife's on a chair there, and sure enough, 5 minutes later, Richard comes in, and he sits on the floor, Indian leg style, in front of my mother-in-law and gives her his undivided attention. And she left in tears. I'm in tears thinking about it because it just made this woman's life. And that's the kind of person Richard was. And the reason I'm saying this today is there was a new podcast that I just heard about, Missing Richard Simmons, because he's kind of like dropped out of the public in the past 3 years. And this podcast is piecing together things with Richard Simmons, and it was on my mind today because, some people hate him and hate that persona, but I'm here to tell you to know him is to love him. Thanks.